folks, let me start from beginning. Okay. So as my slides are loading, thank you so much. The challenge that folks we are facing is a big one, and that is teaching well-being and resilience and practicing it while teaching it. How is that possible? I'm going to make an argument that it is possible. But before I go, I just want to make sure if Noha and Nada, if you can tell me, you can see my slides and you can hear me?
Yes, doctor, I can see your slide.
Okay, let's go. So we already did Menti, and here's the outline. I'm going to take you down some skills and strategies, mostly focused on things which are not quite unfamiliar to you, from positive emotions to character strengths, and how we can use these positive resources to boost our resilience and well-being, to mitigate, boredom, to overcome some relationship challenge, and inculcate some meaning. This is the first time, folks, in history of humankind that more than 4 billion people last March went into some sort of a lockdown, and we are still playing this, unfortunately, hide and seek game with this very deadly virus. As you're seeing, all our prayers goes to our brothers and sisters in India. They are dealing with a very devastating situation. And I will end with, can you create a better version practicing it? So my focus is going to be on the practice. The work is based on my for 15 years positive psychotherapy, which is a clinical protocol we published with Seligman. We also tested in UK with psychosis, and then we created a more educated version for educators, strength-based resilience. That is, we start with a narrative, clear some weeds, explore strengths and use them in relationship and meaning. This is the outcome. Again, I'm not going to bore you that, but there is some papers we have published and some outcome data. It increases well-being, decreases stress. We also got feedback from participants from high schools and college students, pretty good feedback. And we also created different versions of it, including incorporating physical movement, relaxation. So these are different facets of it. So the skills that you're seeing, they come from SBR, strength-based resilience. Okay. Now, how we practice that, which is my main goal, let's start having a little bit taste of it. So wherever you are, if you are in a seated position, you can look at the slides, or you can just listen to my voice prompts and follow along. I'm going to start with a small little gong, and if there's a notification about my mail, please pardon me. So these are actually one of the, again, we live in a world where we can't escape these automatized notifications. So we need to also center in despite all these distractions. So when you hear this gong, take a deep breath, bring your attention to the screen. Sit your head, neck, and trunk straight, facing forward. Keep your shoulders relaxed and stationary. Bring your back towards the back of the chair. And if possible, you can sit in a position where your legs are uncrossed and your feet are flat on floor and hands are close to kneecap. Exhale and inhale. And next one is breathe in, inhale, and gently move your head slowly towards the right shoulder without moving the right shoulder. Hold it there. Take a couple of relaxed breaths and come back to center. If you went to right, now you will repeat to the left side. If you went to left, you can repeat on the right. Come back to center, and this time you're going to bring your right ear to right shoulder, again without moving your right shoulder. Breathe out, exhale. Slowly bring your ear to your shoulder, right or left, whatever your preference, keeping your shoulders down and steady. Take one or two relaxed breaths and bring your head back to center slowly and go to the other side. If you start with the right, go to left, vice versa. Couple of breaths back to center and align your head, neck, and chest in a relaxed straight line. Keep your shoulders steady. Breathe out, exhale, and lift your chin up. You are right now. It's morning here. We just started our fast, and it's the afternoon and there. So this is the time when you actually want to do some stretching, some relaxation exercise. So lift your chin up and slowly tilt your head back. Hold it there, hold it. When you reach your limit, lift the lower jaws up and feel the stretch in the front part of the neck. At this time of the day, you will feel that there's lots of tensions and emotions hidden in our different parts of the body. So we whatever we feel, we store it in our body. Exhale, gently bring your head forward, and now tuck your chin into your chest. So don't stop there. So bring your chin into your chest and feel the stretch in the back of your head and hold it there, hold it. Folks, tell me, most of you will tell me, yes, there's a tension in the back of my head, neck. Slowly, gently come back to center and take a look at this. We all have been experiencing these challenges. These are synthesized from published literature in the last 1 year that has came. People have experienced all around the world in different ways: health anxiety of contracting COVID, media. Sometimes people are so much tired of listening to the negative news, or then there's a sense of uncertainty, online learning, and, which includes teaching and learning, living with family 24/7, or loved ones because of the lockdown, boredom, loneliness, loss of opportunities. Think about lots of you had dreams in 2020 and in 2021. And because of this ongoing COVID situation, we cannot realize those dreams, and then negativity and pessimism and pandemic fatigue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you take a look, and we're going to go back to Menti, right? I'm going to leave this and go back to Menti, and I'm going to request you to please put rank these. Let me. Give me a minute so I could move forward. All right, so please put in order of personal relevance from the level of stress, that what is more stressful in your personal situation. Is it health anxiety? It is media. These are all the things that you just saw on the slide, and you will have the opportunity to rank them. So let's see what you come up with. Health anxiety, media, uncertainty, online learning, and teaching and learning, both, because I understand some of you are in, most of you might be in teaching situation, learning, or anything that is related to your work. Living with family 24/7, boredom, loneliness, loss of opportunity, negativity and pessimism, and the biggest of all, pandemic fatigue. Okay. I'm also checking on my mobile. You can go, okay, you can access this Mentimeter from your mobile device, desktop, any place. So uncertainty is the first one, loss of opportunities, pandemic fatigue, media. So we have the four folks entering this loneliness. Now, four folks. Uncertainty stays on the top. Pandemic fatigue, media. 6. So you guys are Thank you for your participation. 7. All right, let's see. Keep on going, folks. Because I'm going to, in next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to tackle some of the top issues that how you can practice the resilience and well-being while dealing with these challenges, uncertainty. Right, 11. And how about I'm going to look at time, give you another a minute or so, 13, so we could get a good sample of, what's your pulse? What is your pulse? Again, there's no identifying information. No one is tracking your data. And you're not required to enter any identifying information. So 15, so it looks like uncertainty. Fatigue is on top, health anxiety, negativity and pessimism, loneliness. All right, living with family. It's interesting. I'm speaking with you from Toronto to Dubai, in where I've done the similar exercise with my students and some professionals here in North America, and this comes actually quite high because this actually shows quite in a very clear terms the cultural differences. So another 15, 20 seconds. Let's see. 19 folks entered. Uncertainty. So folks, we all are dealing and we don't know how to cope with the uncertainty, right? Pandemic fatigue. Second, health anxiety, negativity, pessimism, loneliness. Okay. So I'll keep these categories in mind, and let me switch back to my presentation now and see how can we tackle some of these concerns. Okay, so you talked about uncertainty. So I'm going to customize the based on what you told me. So this is what this is what I'm going to do, right? So let me go into the press slideshow from current slide. Okay. All right, this one. So, folks, you might have heard this notion that, tolerate anxiety. How you tolerate anxiety, whether at work, in relationship, or the work of employment of your loved one. It's sometimes very difficult to tolerate anxiety because anxiety, one word that explains anxiety is uncertainty. So rather than simply giving you this overly simplified message that tolerate uncertainty and anxiety, which could sometimes paralyze you because it's difficult to tolerate anxiety. So try to take what from positive psychology perspective, I want to evoke. I want you to get your critical thinking. So decide, and we're going to do a quick exercise about your strengths as well. So decide what amount of degree of uncertainty is sufficient for you to act. Rather than not acting, you would never know. At this point, the way the pandemic has evolved over more than a year, and now the variants are coming out, we would not have full certainty or even adequate amount of certainty. So you just need to know that what amount of certainty is sufficient for you to act. That's step number 1. Step 2 is don't underestimate your risk. We as human beings often say, I am not, the other are going to cash this. The other are going to, many people I've seen driving rashly, but I'm a very careful driver. It turns out that most of us are biased. So you need to recognize that bias, use your strengths of critical reasoning and analysis, and don't underestimate the risk and overestimate your abilities, which we often do, and decide what key pieces of information are critical for you in order to act or enact. Sometimes it's in this case, in the case of COVID, your resilience is not to act. Your resilience is to restrain, and especially when you're in a teaching profession, because you have to work with others. So how to restrain or how to not to act, because that is for your health and health of others. And if you cannot decide, consult with someone because you have a narrow window of uncertainty. Consult with others who can help you. Okay, what is it that will help me in order to move along? Okay. The other thing that you can do is also, there was the part of media, and to deal with uncertainty is just be mindful that if you spend a lot of time on media, we are not dealing with one pandemic, folks. And you still have to continue teaching. You still have to continue practicing what profession and your parenting, your learning. But if you are getting a lot of information and often contradictory information, you need to exercise your strength of self regulation. And the self regulation is oftentimes we subscribe, as you saw on my screen, some notification comes, and you need to unfollow some account, take some time in the day or some time in the week, which is called like a blackout from social media. That is very important. And then start a new hobby. I'm going to give you an article where I wrote about 101 ways, which doesn't include lots of technology, but it includes face-to-face human interaction with the people whom you live in your own safe bubble, to connect with people. Again, that comes from research which shows how we can deal with uncertainty. Okay, close to is as boredom. One way to deal with boredom is to have more flow, and I'm going to actually also help you to understand your strengths and give a very simple, very simple tip. We all experience the states that you are seeing on the slide: worry, anxiety, apathy, boredom. Sometimes we are too relaxed to not to do anything. So when your growth, your resilience, your well-being is in that very small zone of flow. And a good illustration of flow is, so if I could indulge you, think about a time when you were doing something, it was so important for you, so engaging for you, that you started doing it, and next time you look at the clock, you'd have no idea that it is 7 o'clock in the evening. You started like 2 o'clock, 2 in the afternoon. The time flies by. You are really focused. Even if there are some ways to distract you, you still are able to come back to the main point. So how you can inculcate flow? So let me walk you through an exercise, and that is this exercise. Most of you are familiar with these strengths which you're seeing: creativity, perspective, judgment, zest, love. What I had an opportunity to work with the New Zealand Institute of Wellbeing and Research. They were working with in the terrible aftermath of tragedy, where a gunman opened fire into mosque in Christchurch. So I worked with the Muslim community there, and they came up with this notion of how we can use our strengths in different ways. So we're going to do a quick exercise on strengths. Some of you might already have done BIA, but this is another way to explore your strengths. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to play a slideshow, which will have all these 24 strengths with description and pictures. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to go to Menti, and you will be asked, don't enter right now. We'll go back to the slide, and then you will, after watching the slideshow, you will enter the 5 strengths. All 24 strengths are listed there. So you can cue your mobile devices into, look, another notification comes along. You can cue your devices to this page, and once we finish the clip, you can enter your top 5 strengths. So I just want to make sure everyone is clear. Cue on the Menti, and then we're going to go back to the show. This show, and you're going to see all 24 strengths. Let me stop this. All 24 strengths, and the 5 that best describe you, you're going to select them. Don't think too much about them. These are the strengths which you already have. So this is more of a heart test, okay? So let's see if technology is going to help us. Slideshow from current slide. And okay, right. Not this one. All right, so just give my should be playing. All right, it's not playing, but I'll give you the show. This is I'll send you the slides. You can watch the show. But let's go back to Menti, and those who have knows their strength, just select the 5 that best represent you. Okay, so 3 people have entered. We have appreciation of beauty is a top. No, love of learning, and so I will read the strengths because there's a little font is a bit small. It's creativity, curiosity, open-mindedness, love of learning, perspective, bravery, persistence, honesty, enthusiasm. Sorry. Love, kindness, social intelligence, teamwork, fairness, leadership, forgiveness, humility, prudence, self-control or self-regulation, appreciation of beauty, gratitude, hope, humor, spirituality. Okay, so right now, 15 folks have entered. They think that honesty is their number 1 strength. They might be informed by their previous assessment from VIA or other resources. Love of learning, you are educators, so this makes sense. Open-mindedness is pretty on the top. Humor as well, and kindness now, and honesty and open-mindedness. So my goodness, you guys are rocking. Open-mindedness, honesty, kindness, gratitude, humor. So maybe another 30 seconds just to get a snapshot of this group. I'm surprised no one has picked up hope. Oh no, as I said, someone goes for a hope. Open mind, this is lovely to see, folks. It will be much more if I'd watched the clip, but it is also in some ways, now you're not biased to the pictures. Excellent. So what we have here is honesty, integrity, open-mindedness, kindness, gratitude, humor. Okay, 27 and another 10 seconds. See if there's another entry. But this is the okay. The profile of this group looks like open-mindedness, honesty, kindness, gratitude. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, so let's go back to our. We got some more. Here we go. All right. There are some tips. Again, you will get the slides, and I will from the current slide. There are some tips that you can use. Be creative, do some tasks which will help you. Artistic pursuits are very important. Using your strengths, set goals to acquire new skills, harness your attention. Often our attention is dispersed in so many ways. Co-learn. They are all wonderful ways to build flow, to use your strengths to, while you are going through this COVID and even have to do everything, you can take care of your resilience, because even a 5-minute snippet of flow would be very helpful for you, because this is where research shows you build a psychological capital. Okay, the big thing was in your poles was isolation. Okay, now keep in mind, we also saw kindness as one of the top strengths. And gratitude was not too far away. So it's very important that we are aware that a lot of our well-being and resilience rest on building and nurturing and taking care of relationships. Okay, so have some uninterrupted conversations with your loved one. Year plus you're living with them, or even connecting with them online in whatever way, but one way that will cement your well-being, cement your relationship, enhance your well-being is to ask this very simple question: am I listening to my loved one? Be it your spouse, be it your colleague, be it your child, be it your friend. Am I listening the way I would like to be listened to? Such a profound question, because we often are not listening, we are preparing a rebuttal. Let yourself be vulnerable. We often want to be very uptight, and we don't want to show our vulnerability, but let yourself to be vulnerable, and share your challenges, because when you let, especially with people you trust, that trust builds in relationship. One of the things we are seeing in modern societies, in modern contemporary societies, and Dubai is not an exception, is the increasing sense of loneliness. People don't trust others. And they feel there's so many things. Again, at another time, I'll share with you, when I work with the clients in interpersonal situation, that vulnerability is eroding, and not to share the vulnerabilities eroding our relationship, and let your loved one influence you. Another thing that is I'm seeing, I work with lots of immigrant families, especially males. They hold this macho view that I need to show my strengths, and no one can influence me, but I can influence others. So when there's a power hierarchy, the connection, the relationship goes awry. They go all over the place. Let each other influence you in positive ways. Okay. Another thing that happens is that when living 24/7, we become small in the beginning phase. Oh, we're working from home, we will have lots of time. And now that after honeymoon period, there is irritation, and a small little things start bugging you. So I'm not talking about the big forgiveness, the capital F forgiveness, but I'm talking about day in, day out forgiveness. So if you have done something and you realize that is straining your relationship, these are some conversation starters. Say it. I don't blame you for being upset, because that's that. I acknowledge and accept my part. Oftentimes we do something that we contribute in some ways. Let me ask you, I'm not seeing you, you're not in front of me, but let me ask you, is there anyone in this audience who has not been forgiven? I doubt. I want to take a specific action so this doesn't happen. Rather than blame and shame, let's move towards problem solving. And then a couple of other things. These come from my clinical practice. Also, another big clue, you saw gratitude was among the top strengths, is when you live with loved ones, we take things for granted. This came from one of my clients who are moving in with their parents. They realized that how much they do. They didn't ever thought of that, and they say that it was so thoughtful of you. And they said to the mother, who stay home mother, but do a lot of things which go unnoticed. And then I want to also know how much I appreciate your contribution. It is Gratitude is such a glue for our relationships that we are often forgetting it. When you express gratitude, lots of negative emotions that are keeping you away from each other dissipate. They fizzle out, they wash out, because everyone wants to be acknowledged for their work. So when you say it, don't, I appreciate it. We're very quick to say complaints, right? It's so important in our day in day life. We express gratitude, and you can do the same when you're teaching with your students. If they do something nice, express their gratitude, and a couple of other conversation starters. There are some strategies. Some of you might be familiar with the work of positivity resonance of Barbara Fredrickson. She said there are two conditions. A good relationship have feeling of safety, both internal and external. It's a real-time experience. When people are together, they make, this is talking about your safety bubble, people you're living in together. Eye to eye, they're face to face, smile to smile. Three conditions to create positivity resonance: eye to eye, face to face, smile to smile. That will create positivity resonance. That is a cornerstone of positive relationship. Spot strengths. If you spotted your strengths, do the same exercise with your loved one and keep update what's going on in your loved one. Oftentimes we take for granted, my spouse, my child's work is like, I know what they're going on, but sometimes small little things go unasked, and it makes sure you have 10-15 minute one-to-one talk, and also share a deep sense of meaning and purpose. That what is this COVID has taught us, most important, what is the meaning of our life, the things that we took for granted, our planet, our health, our small little things that we could go out and do, we have taken for granted. And that small little virus, the virus that is, if there is any full stop, period in my sentence, the virus is 100 times smaller than that. This tiny virus has created so much havoc. Folks, this is a time for us to explore what is the meaning for us to exist and how we want to be in going forward. I just want to ask my host. I have another 2 or 3 minutes to wrap up. Is that okay? Naha, and another?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. Let me end meaning. If you look at all the strengths that you just explored, those strengths give you what is the purpose? And I was talking about the purpose and meaning. And purpose and meaning is so important because it's not that you need to have a grand purpose. I mean, of course, these are inspirational leaders like Malala Yousafzai, Nelson Mandela, Gutenberg, all. So they are doing wonderful things. They have done wonderful things. But I think what I'm talking about is if you want to practice well-being and resilience while teaching it, you also need to create meaning in small acts. Maybe start doing one thing for an environment, which using less, bags, plastic bags, single-use plastic bags is one of the biggest hazards. The plastic bottles, anything that you can contribute. That is one way of meaning. Connecting with people who need your help, because meaning is such an important part. And if I could play this clip, this is from one of the participants of our workshop who assessed their strengths, and this is how they are. They came when they came. They shared they experienced significant medical challenges, and the strengths help them to know themselves better. So rather than I tell you what is meaning, let me have you, a young adult, a student, teach us or illuminate us how we can use strengths to create practice of well-being and resilience in our day-to-day life.
Focusing on your strengths and spending time to define them is vitally important to finding out who you are as a person. You spend a lot of time focusing on flaws and weaknesses, and I don't find they help you find a true picture of yourself in any given moment. You're constantly focusing on, what you could be and always falling short, having this fragmented and sort of inaccurate perception of yourself. It's like trying to describe a painting using only what it isn't. It isn't colorful, it isn't abstract, it isn't organized. There's an infinite ways to describe something like that aren't very helpful, and they just give you this false and description that always falls short to say what it really is, to really describe the thing that you're looking at. And people are a lot like that. If you aren't able to define yourself, you can't have this strong sense of self to be confident in the world. I find knowing your strengths gives you a solid foundation from which to jump off and move into the person you could be. It's accepting the person you are now and sort of moving into the person you could be. And this allows you to be confident and overcome the challenges that life puts your way and help you find happiness. It's about sort of planting your flag in the ground and saying, yeah, this is the person I am. And there's very little that the world can do or people can do to you that can take that away from you. And that was the main thing that I pulled from learning about my strengths, is defining myself as a person and not kind of buying into all the things that I am not, and getting to be the person that I am.
Absolutely wonderful. Again, Meaningful Life. I will send you the slides. Comes from wonderful research from Steger. And also, as I was saying, look for experiencing rather than just hedonic ways. And there are 5 strategies to cultivate meaning and purpose. You will get that in slides. Now, let me move back to Menti and see what we have next. There are our wonderful organizers have asked to share, if you could be kind enough to share your experience. We do apologize. My apologies. My computer that I was supposed to present just at the last minute had some technical problems. So my apologies for those technical issues, but I hope you got something out of it. So feel free. Again, there's no identifying information, so you can share your feedback.
Dr. Tayyip?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Tayyip, for the beautiful presentation. I love that you said that well-being is dependent on relationship, and that is really important to take uninterrupted time with people. We need to ask ourselves, am I listening to my loved ones? Am I being listened to in the way I want to be listened? So yeah, thank you for that. And before jumping into Menti, there is an open for Q&A.
Yes.
So yeah, so if you guys have any question, please add them in the chat feature or raise your hand. And I have a couple of questions for you, if you are ready.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. So question number 1, how do we engage the older kids in well-being practices?
Okay, excellent. With older kids, research shows that you got to be remember, one of my slides was, am I listening to my child the way I would like to be listened to? So it's very important that you ask yourself that I am listening to my child if I was in their shoes. So make sure that you allocate time, 15, 20, 25 minutes, whatever is necessary and important, to just listen. Listen, folks. It is so important to listen. If you don't listen, you would not grasp the problem, and you got to listen from beginning to end. Let me repeat again, beginning to end. We become very impulsive, very, we are the plague of, hurry, often doesn't allow us to finish the other person's sentence, and we fill it in. So let them finish their story, their narrative, and check it. And when you're listening, make sure that you're not preparing an answer. So that's number 1. And then ask, the children have, adolescent, older children have enough intellectual power, intellectual resources. Ask the question that if they are having a problem, ask them, what do you think, what's the problem? Let them define it. And then say, what do you think, what might be the solution? So let them generate the solution. Trust me, the more autonomy you will give them, the better it would be. The more top-down approach you will have, you should do this when I was at this age, with this, when I was when I was, you even don't know. Please don't put this guilt trip onto them that, I came to Dubai, or if you're an expat, just because we wanted to give you a good education and good life. When I was back home, my life was so difficult. You are living in luxury. Don't give this guilt trip, because they don't know. They absolutely have no idea. So let them come up with solution. And then if there are some challenges that you don't like, that's okay. You can negotiate with that. But you got to do it over regularly. Have a check-in, a built-in check-in. Every 2 weeks, one-to-one with older kids. No other sibling should be there. It could be with the father, it could be with the mother, it could be anyone who is the household, however you define your family.
Great. Okay, I have the question number 2. How do we integrate the language of well-being and character strengths in our teaching practices?
Wonderful question. I don't think so that we need to be very, very explicit. Yes, this exercise, this presentation was, these are strengths, go to Menti, look at the slides, and these are the strengths. That's a formal. I believe in more organic spotting of strengths. The best way is, first you got to have understanding what are strengths. What is gratitude? What is curiosity? What is creativity? Then the second part is, which when I'm training educators, I have gone to different schools. What I've learned from them, not that I learned it as naturally, but I learned from them, is to behavioral expressions, the real life teaching classroom situations. I collect a lot of those data, have discussion with them, so the teachers and educators can, whatever is happening in their class, they can sort of reframe it, rephrase it, and look from the lens of strengths. So you're not creating new experiences. You're starting with what is happening. If someone has said thank you, if someone has shared, helped someone, if someone has smiled, so that is an expression of gratitude, that is an expression of kindness, that is an expression of social intelligence. So increase your vocabulary about the actions, folks. Actions which happen every day. Right now, as I'm speaking with you, yes, there are some terrible things are going, but 10 times more people in this world, in different, even this COVID situation, people are helping, people are listening, people are doing kind things. So because of the negativity bias that we look towards negativity more, you need to sharpen your lens to spot the real life behaviors in and around the classroom, in and around the school settings, and spot them and then celebrate them as strengths. And I think that will make it so organic and so natural.
Okay, Dr. Taib, before we move into question number 3, can you please bring up slide number 2 in Menti?
Yeah, slide number 2. This one?
Yes, please.
Okay.
With the question so that they can answer as well.
Right. So key takeaways that I will take from the webinar presented today were, and in this one, the way this slide is set up, that you can enter text. It's not just words, you can enter text as well.
Okay, are you ready for question number 3, Dr. Taib?
Yes.
Okay. So question 3 is, we've seen in the Adults at School Wellbeing Survey this year that the sense of meaning amongst teachers has significantly declined this year due to COVID. How can teachers re-engage in the meaning of their work during these pandemic times?
Okay. Excellent questions. Excellent question. And I'm not surprised, because the sense of meaning is attached to what I'm doing and how I'm contributing to the well-being of others beyond myself. I mean, if you take, there are multiple definitions from Seligman to Roy Boymoster to Steger. Lots of people have done some wonderful work. So think about this. UNESCO estimated around March 2020, 1.87 billion pupils, students went away from school onto online learning. So the things that were happening in the school setting is so important, but we were just thrown in, we were pivoted into this online. So I think the sense of meaning has gone down because the pandemic is ongoing, the variants are appearing. We don't have a definite end. We have vaccines, but I think it's also important to acknowledge these challenges. And you can get some sense of meaning by seeing how people have came together. For example, I'll give you an example from Toronto. Toronto started the caremongering. Caremongering is a program where people from the communities went to elderly people who couldn't get out of their homes and did the grocery shopping. It became a global movement. So there's a sense of meaning. So as I said, one of the big challenge that we saw during COVID is the media focused a lot, and I'm not criticizing media in that sense, for right reasons, on the negative news, the panic buying of toilet papers and etc., conspiracy theories, vaccine hesitancy, this is 5G towers, all of those things. But I think if you look, the wonderful things came. Those can be the catalysts, the motivators for teachers to restore the meaning. But at the same time, if you don't force it, because it will take some time. For us, it's a great moment for teachers, for educators, a great moment of reset. Lastly, let me end my answer at this. Folks, we are highly, highly social creatures. We are actually ultra social creatures. When we are in pain, we want to associate with others. But the COVID protocols required that you can only associate with your family, with your bubble. So I think that also gave sort of a despair, and despair is associated with the sense of meaninglessness. But I'm hoping this is a temporary, and as we enter into so-called new normal, we'll be able to restore it.
All right. Last but not least, what are some well-being practices that have worked for you?
Excellent question. I'll start with the latest one. Ever since the beginning of Ramadan, and Ramadan came to everyone who is observing fast. I have two boys, 15 and 13. So then they've been largely homeschooled. So we started taking morning walks, and I'm physically conscious, and I do exercise every day, but I do exercise in a machine inside. But for me to go outside with boys and to spot nature for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, what we decided is for 7 days, we have 7 different routes around our home, and associated with specific days. So I think it's so important that we listen, but we also get connected with nature. Let the nature talk to us in the morning. And it is such a beautiful time after those who don't sleep, and there's not many people around. So you can listen to the birds. So look at the skies, the clouds. So connection with nature is a big one. Secondly, also, what has worked for me is also a sense of understanding that what is most important. Rather than sweating at things, there will always be things. Folks who are listening to me, is there anyone who is not unhappy about at least 1 or 2 things about your work, about your relationship, about your in-laws, about your government? We all have those complaints. But I think if you have the sense of gratitude, you can do this calculus. And I love this, and I learned from one of my clients, and we were discussing, and the quote was towards the end of our session was, there are a lot of things that could have been better. After a pause, after a long discussion, we concluded there are a lot of things which could have been gone worse. So I think the sense of having a sense of gratitude has helped me. What I need to look at, what I have, not what I should have or what I don't have. So nature and gratitude are my biggest strategies.
Thank you, Dr. Tayyib. Well, I can see from their feedback, it's more about listening. So listening better than anything. Listen, learn to be a good listener. Find your key strength. Listen to people the way you want to be listened. That's really good. The importance of listening. I totally agree. Well, I really do want to thank you, Dr. Taib. It was such a great session, and it is really great that you all come to join us. We have got more sessions happening during the week, and we hope that you come and attend those as well. Before ending the session, if I may ask you all to turn on the camera for a group photo, if it's possible.
All right.
Anyone? Hello. Nice. Great.
So nice to see so many faces.
Yep, it is. So I'm gonna take the photo. 1, 2.
Oh, wait a second, a few more faces.
Okay, come on. Okay. So I'll count. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Nada, I'll be very happy to share my slides. I actually will incorporate the Menti results so that you can all share the collective wisdom, make it a PDF and send it to organizers. And because those are strategies, my intention was not to cover them, just to share with them so you can look at them.
Thank you, Dr. Tayyib. And finally, the session today has been recorded, and you can access today's session and other sessions by going to New Day's website. Exactly, where you can see it on the screen. And the next session we have is tomorrow, Wednesday on 28th April at 9 o'clock. It is about appreciative inquiry with Michelle Etif. We hope you can join us there. Thank you so much once again. And thank you, everybody. It was an excellent session. Ramadan Kareem.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tayyib. Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely evening.